Serious question. Have you ever measured a fart with a Kestrel? Alrighty, so forgive me if my voice sounds a bit weird. I'm going to war with some sort of virus that's making itself at home inside my head. But today we are going to talk about the Kestrel 5700 Ballistics Weather Meter. This version is not the Elite, this is just the 5700 with ballistics. The Elite in Australia is up over $1,000, and if I downgraded to the 5700 standard version just with the regular ballistics, I was able to get this one from Optics Planet over in the States for just over $600 delivered, and it only took 2 weeks to get here, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's unbox this thing, have a look at what you get inside the box. So the box itself is actually quite small. I don't know why, but I expected it to be bigger. But here we go. So you get your little weather meter sitting in there. Very nice. Looks good. Feels rugged. Poo brown, just as God intended. Open up underneath. Let's see what we got. We got a little baggie. Very nice. Can't really see myself using that actually. I think I'm probably going to have a more ruggedized pouch that I might put on my belt. Who knows? We'll see. And we've got a battery and instructions that looks like telling me to only use Energizer lithium batteries. Very nice. Cool. Fine with that. That looks like a lanyard. Stickers. Good. Nice. It's a good looking sticker. To brand names out there that are looking at this and seeing these unboxing things, if you don't give me a sticker, I'm going to be very upset with you. So 10 points to Kestrel for giving me a sticker. Alright, here we go. User documentation. Slide that off. So easy quick start guide, warranty, and certificate of conformity. Alright, very good. It's a conformist and it was approved by old Nils. Very good, very good. Okay, happy as a clam. So that's everything that's in the box. Alright, so let's chuck our battery on in there. Ooh. Very nice. Unlock you. This thing is built like a tank. Look at the size of that O-ring. Good lord. I'm going deep sea diving, shooting stuff at long range underwater. Very nice. Very nice. Positive up that way. In we go. And pop you back on. Put our little lever there. Sick. Alright, so we're on. Good times. So, I've got this one in ballistics mode, but you can change it to easy, weather, or ballistics. Good show, good show. So, let's go ahead and set this thing up. We'll pop the lanyard in. The lanyard is an essential part of using the Kestrel, because when you are getting your environmental data, you're supposed to spin it around until all of the various parameters have stabilized. So your humidity and your ambient temperature, all that jazz. There we go. It's a little bit tricky. Straight back on through. There we go. Nice and secure. And then the next step is to hook it up to your Kestrel Ballistic app, which I have downloaded already. Just a quick word on the app itself. When I got it, I don't know if it's because I got mine from overseas or not, but my phone didn't want to connect to my Kestrel. It was really weird. So there's two apps. There's Kestrel Weather and Kestrel Ballistics. And I ended up having to download the Kestrel Weather app and this app that I'm using now, the Ballistics app, and connect it through the Weather app, because the Weather app worked fine. And then it started working on this app as well. So I don't have to use the Weather app anymore, but just a bit of weirdness. So just keep that in mind. If you have any dramas, just try downloading whichever other apps you have access to in your local place of work or whatever, and yeah, go through it that way. So device selection, see if it'll connect this time while we're on camera. If it doesn't connect, come over to your, click your settings button, and then go down to Bluetooth, press enter, make sure that it's on PC or mobile. The other option is device, don't know what that's for, maybe that's for rangefinder or something like that, but yeah, we'll leave it on PC mobile for now. Menu to escape, Bluetooth, so not picking it up. Problem that I had before. I'm going to turn it off and turn it on again because I'm totally a hacker. See what happens. Maybe they're too close together. Further apart. Put you over here. Put you over here. Definitely not connected. Sigh. Hello. Alright, let's try that again. And reset my Bluetooth. You're on, you're on. Click the Kestrel. Let's just see what happens if I leave it alone. Are we gonna connect? Come on now. Come on. Yes. Allow. You may indeed turn on Bluetooth. I have paired these up once before. Oh, there we go. Very good. Alright. So, for some reason, it's a little dicky to try and get it to connect. So, I went into device selection before and tried to have it scan for a new device. But maybe if it's already paired, because I did pair it yesterday, you just open the app, let it turn your Bluetooth on if your Bluetooth was off, and then just wait for a couple of seconds until it all comes through. So, now that we're ready to rock, let's go into gun profile management. And we'll see here that I've got my FX Crown Max Power King Heavy Mark II 25 tune on there. So we've got that selected. We'll just pop on in here and I'll show you what it's like. So we've got the name, bullet diameter, weight, ballistic coefficient, muzzle velocity 0, all that standard stuff, you know, height over bore for the scope, twist rate, and what units you want it to deliver in. So mil-rad, of course. And we'll go up here, and just a quick word on using this with a pellet, like I am here. So we've only got two options for the ballistic coefficient mode. We've got G7 and G1. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. So I'm using G1 for pellets, which is not ideal, but it is better than the other option. Alright, so we're going to go down the bottom and click Send Profiles. Send Profiles. So it says, select Override to erase all profiles on the Kestrel and replace with selected profiles. Select Append to add selected profiles to the Kestrel. You have room for one additional profile. Now that may not seem like very many profiles, but it's pretty easy to take them off and put them on again. So if you're out hunting with your mates and you want to put their profile on your Kestrel so that you can do wind and spot for them, you can. But I think it holds four profiles, and in mine at the moment there's like the generic blank one that's loaded into there. There's this one which I've just edited and changed because I wanted to change the ballistic coefficient, and there's a third one in there. I'm not really sure what that one's all about, but that's fine. So we're just going to overwrite all of them, send those profiles in. Takes a couple of seconds and we're all good. Alright, happy days. So we'll leave the app alone for a minute, pop on in here and see what we got. Now mine's in ballistics mode. It came in easy mode and I changed it to ballistics mode. So the easy mode is very useful, but for today we'll just we'll play around in ballistics mode. Alright, so that's the target range. You can adjust your range, 51, 52, 53. There we go. So it's got elevation 1.53 up, mil-rad, windage 0.02 left. So that's just from the last time that I went outside and to test the wind. Ironically, there was no wind when I was outside just before, so the one time that I actually need wind to make a video, there is no wind, so didn't see that one coming. But yeah, you can adjust with your left and right buttons, and you can hold it and it'll skip up like that. You see it going all the way up. 181 meters would be a hell of a shot with a pellet, but very good, 16.32 mils up. Windage, click down, click on wind, let's go, there we go. So wind direction, 12 o'clock, wind selection 1, wind selection 2, so you can get like a constant wind and a gusting wind. Very nice. Settings button to exit, keep scrolling down. The gun, FX Crown, max power, very good. Let's have a look at that. New gun. Alright, so it's only got 2 profiles on it now. It's erased the other ones, that's good. Environmentals, let's have a look at that. So you can update that, and that's when you do your swingy aroundy thing. Gives you your temperature, pressure, all that sort of good stuff. Elevation, ballistic, very detailed, very good. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about that ballistic coefficient problem. So, as you can see in front of you, I have put out 3 different tables with 3 different types of ballistic coefficient with the same data. So this is my FX Crown shooting the King Heavy Mark II at about 870 feet per second at the muzzle. On the far left we have the GA, ballistic coefficient solution, which is the most accurate one for pellets. Because pellets are drag stabilized, they have like weird math that goes with them, and that's the one that you're supposed to use. However, that is not available on the Kestrel 5700. At the very least, not in the firmware update that I've got. It would be super duper Kestrel if you could figure something out for us pellet guys. The technology for air guns has come a long way, so we're actually shooting like reasonable distances. And because the trajectory is quite loopy, it's really good to have accurate information. So it would be a super duper awesome thing if Kestrels came with a GA option. They do, however, come with G7 and G1 options. And if we take a look right down the bottom so that we can magnify the differences as much as possible, I set this up so that it had a 10 kilometer an hour crosswind coming from 90 degrees. And as you can see with the windage for GA at 120 meters with that wind, it's 2.2 mil hold off. We come across to the G7 and we can see that with a G7 projectile it would be only 1.3, and then we come across to the far right and you see under the G1 it would be 2.4 mils. So obviously G1 is closer to GA. It's pretty good, it's looking all right, but G7 won't work. So the difference between G7 and G1, G7 is designed to be used with boat tail rounds, and G1 is designed to be used with flat based rounds. So I suspect that that's why the G1 is closer to GA. And as far as using the Kestrel with pellets goes, I recommend that you use the G1 because it's obviously a lot closer in windage and elevation. It's only sort of 0.1, maybe 0.2 mil MRAD off, which isn't too much, and I suspect you probably wouldn't really notice that too much until you get out past sort of, up around your 100 meter mark. And what we're going to do today is shoot some pellets on that G1 ballistic coefficient and see if we can get, true the app by changing either the ballistic coefficient or changing the muzzle velocity so that all of our G1 table pretty much lines up as close as we can get it to our GA table, and that'll be much more usable than what it's presented me with at the moment. So yeah, let's go and set the range up and see what we can do. All rockin' fighty then. We'll do it tomorrow. Let's have a quick look at the different models and identify the main differences between the 5700 Elite and the standard 5700 ballistics that I have. These ones on the right of those two, they've all either been discontinued or they're not really relevant. The Ruger Kestrel 5700 is basically the same thing as the ballistics, however it has the Ruger preloads in it, and the drop is kind of a different thing entirely, so it's not really what we're going to be talking about today. So the Sportsman and the Horus have been discontinued, so we won't be giving too much thought to them. So focus your attention on the two on the far left, the 5700 Elite and the standard 5700, and we come to see the price being the main difference here as we kick off. So $3.99 for the one I got, this is US dollars, and $6.99 for the Kestrel Elite with link. Don't buy one without link. Link is where it's at. So significant price difference, and what does it give you? Basically, the Elite, you have more color options. You only have tan in the one that I've got, which is fine with me. I don't mind that. We'll pop down to two features down here that don't have ticks for the standard one that I have, but do for the Elite, and that's powder temperature and 0 height and 0 offset. I'm not 100% sure what the difference really is, because I have height over bore for scope, but this might be referring to something different. It might be referring to running two different loads through the same rifle, so you might be able to tell it that you've got the a second load on board that offsets your 0 a little bit, and it'll compensate for that, but you can't do that with the standard one. You can only do it with the Elite. Same with powder temperature. So we'll keep scrolling down. Drop scale factor truing, I believe that's once you start getting out to really long ranges, so 800 meters plus, where it's wise to true your ballistic coefficient as opposed to truing your muzzle velocity. You can do that with the Elite, but you can't do it with the one that I've got. You can't do it with the standard one. With the Elite, you can also have 10 times the amount of profiles and 10 times the amount of targets, which sounds super handy. That's I like the sound of that. But as you can see, in the middle of all that, we've got all of the Horus and Ruger type stuff that neither of them do. And as we come further down, you see that more differences start showing. We've got the range card on the Elite, but not on the standard. Expanded ballistics with the Elite, only basic with standard, and then multi-target view on the link app with the Elite, but not with the standard. And down all the way down the bottom here to applied ballistics lits, custom drag models, which is on the Elite but not the standard as well. So that I'm not sure what that is. I think that it would be great if that had custom ballistics models like the GA for Pellets, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'll find out eventually as time goes by, I think, and yeah, maybe it's worth upgrading, maybe it's not. We'll see. But you can upgrade your meters if you decide that you are going to buy the 5700 ballistics, not the Elite. You can actually upgrade the unit with a firmware upgrade without upgrading the hardware. You can upgrade your Kestrel 5700 to an Elite. If you have the Sportsman, you can upgrade to the Elite. If you have the 5700 or the Ruger 5700, you can upgrade to the Elite. Basically all it is you purchase you send in your serial number and everything, and an email address for where the firmware is to be sent, and then you decide whether or not you're going to run with the link dongle or the USB cable, and that will so basically you can plug it into your laptop and upgrade the firmware. So there you go. Link dongle, $220. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's good to know that if you don't want to spend the money on the Elite ballistics straight away, the very least you have the option to upgrade without having to upgrade the whole unit. So not a bad deal. It's looking a little bit damp, but I reckon it's going to be good enough to shoot. That's all that really matters. so it's turned out to be a beautiful day. I've got the range set up, so I've got steel at 25 meters with a paper target behind it so that I can check my zero. That'll be the first order of business. And then when I do that, because I'm supposed to be zeroed for 870 feet per second, so I will adjust high and low once I'm ready at that 25 yard zero. I'll adjust my muzzle velocity until it lines up with where my point of impact is, and then once we're done there, we're going to step it out to 50 meters and check it, and then we'll true it with the BC, because the BC is really the weirdness from there on out, and then we'll step it on out to 100 and true it again, and yeah, we'll see how we go. Hopefully we'll get a good end result. So time to bust out the old Kestrel and make sure that we've got the right environmental things. Wind speed, there's no wind at the moment, which is beautiful. It's probably one variable that we don't really need to be playing with today, but it'll give me temperature, barometric pressure, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, let's get to it. 1 kilometer an hour, cool. Beautiful, beautiful. Now we're on the money. Now we are on the money. Center punched like a boss. Stacking them. Alright, so we're zeroed at 28 meters. It wasn't 25, it was 28. Ranged it, checked it, input all of that data into the computer, my little Strelok Pro app, and then I've changed my zero distance on my Kestrel as well. So now we're going to step it out. I just ranged the other target and it is 50.3 meters. So we'll call that 50, that's good enough for me. And I'm going to do what the Kestrel tells me to do, and then I am going to adjust depending on where it lands. So we'll mill it through the scope, and then once that's all done, we'll change the muzzle velocity in the Kestrel until the two values line up, and that'll true us up for muzzle velocity, and then from there we'll step out to 100. So just put the value into the Kestrel. Can we see it there? There we go. So 50 meters, it's telling me 1.08 mils up, and my Strelok Pro app is telling me it's 1.1, so it's pretty close. I'm going to do what the Kestrel tells me to do, mill it, and then adjust the muzzle velocity until the two values match the same. And the statistics on the Strelok Pro app are a good guide, but this has the environmental conditions updated, so I haven't updated them in that yet. So there's going to be a discrepancy between the two. So the two values that we're going to use are what happens on the target and the Kestrel, so that we can get the two values to be the same on this one. So we're a little bit low, which isn't really surprising. I'm going to aim for that same shot, just so that I have a better reference point on the target. That's not too bad, it's only slightly lower. Same spot again. One more. Not a bad group at 50 meters. One big dirty old splat. However, I'm going to call that 0.4 of a mil low. Alrighty, after some doodling around, it turns out that if you have a ballistic coefficient less than the value of 0.100, and you try and change it on the Kestrel without changing it in the gun profile in the app and then sending it to the Kestrel, it resets it to a minimum of 1. So the minimum standard for the Kestrel in G1 ballistic coefficient mode is going to be 1 flat. So if you're shooting pellets like I am, where the ballistic coefficient is so terrible that it's like by a factor of 10 worse than the minimum factor, you have to do it on the gun profile on your phone or whatever link device that you're using to send your gun profiles over to your Kestrel, and then send it over to your Kestrel, hook them up and send it over. So that's what I've done there. So from now on, purely going to be adjusting muzzle velocity, not the actual BC. Alright, happy with that. Happy with that. Let's change it up and we'll bust out the old rangefinder. See if we can slap it right on the dinger. 92.8. We'll call that 92 for the length of the barrel. Elevation 4.74. 4.5, 6, 7. Aiming for the middle of the target. Black line. A little bit of mirage. Looks like we've got a little bit of right to left wind. Alright, so we've got some noticeable drop. See if we can't bang that one again. And we're dry. Alright, so we've got a group on paper, on steel rather. Where are we? Perfect elevation though, very good. That is exactly what we need to see. So, we're out by 0.7 of a mil, 0.6, 0.7 of a mil. Alright, so we're going to take that up to 5.32. Right. There we go. Continue. Accept. And recalibrated. Very good. Alright, so we should be all trued up. Ooh, just in time. The mozzies are coming to kill me. Alright, so we should be all trued up now. I'm going to fire a test group now. So we'll, if we can get 3 or 4 rounds, maybe even 5, it looks like we'll probably get 5 on that black line. Mint. We'll call it good. Beautiful. We're in the black line. We're on the money. A little bit all over the shop. Wind blowing me around. Elevation's still pretty good though. Happy with that. Let's quickly run it back down to 50 metre target and we'll see how much of a difference that makes at 50 metres. 1.27 mils. Oh, nice. Some terrible shooting, but good enough for what we want to do today. So here we are at 50 metres. This was my final shot after calibrating it. My point of aim was about here. So that's well within the margin of error. My particular shooting margin of error and also the margin of error for the actual muzzle velocity too. So very good. It's only about a thumb's width off. Happy with that. Because as you can see the group itself, yeah, it's about that big. So 2 or 3 fingers, not a bad group at 50 metres. So here we are, little IPSC torso target. Let's just crack you down a bit so we can see. And as you can see, this is 92 metres. And this was my first group down here. Focus on the elevation more than the windage, and so they're all pretty much dead in line. The width of my thumb is the height of the group, so that's pretty good. And then trued the algorithm, and rushed a few shots up here, but they're all sort of pretty close to the center line that I was aiming at. So that was after truing the algorithm, and got my elevation set nicely. Just had a bit of wind gusting past, and at this range with pellets you get a fair bit of play just from a very light gust of wind, because they're really going pretty slow by the time they get all the way out here. So it is usable. I think it's usable anyway. For someone of my skill level, with my amount of sort of error in the things that I do, it doesn't seem to make a huge amount of difference. It would still be very nice if the Kestrel came with GA and all other ballistic coefficients types for that matter. But as far as anyone who's thinking of using a 5700 for shooting pellets, just use the GA and true the algorithm, and you should be right at the very least out to 100 meters. And shooting pellets further than 100 meters, you're going to need someone a little bit more qualified than me. Go talk to Matt. I'm sure he'll figure something out for you. Very happy with my purchase. It's a great little unit. Can be used with air guns and pellets. I'd imagine it would be much better using it with slugs than pellets. We wouldn't have any dramas at all then, because the ballistic coefficient would be Mickey Mouse. It would be right on. But yeah, it's a great relief to have something that I can measure the wind with and something that also does the ballistics for me as well, so I don't have to carry my phone with me if I don't want to. I can just carry the Kestrel and use only the Kestrel, so that's great. Good news. Happy to know that. And it's nice to know as well that you can upgrade the Kestrel in the future, because the 5700 is basically the same thing as the 5700 Elite. It just doesn't have the top tier firmware upgrade. So you can upgrade if and when you need to, which is nice to know. So very good. That'll probably do us for today. If you enjoyed the video, tickle that like button nice and gently, and subscribe if you'd like to see some more from me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.